Good morning. I'm going to do a little different video today. I'm going to do a gear review on a new pair of shoes. I mentioned on a recent video that I've got some new equipment, and shoes were one of them. These are the Altra Lone Peak 9 Plus. It's the newest shoe that's come out. It's the first Ultra shoe that's come out with the Vibram sole. There's a lot of talk about this, so I want to give an evaluation of what I think about this so far. Before I start, you know, the standard thing, I'm not sponsored by Altra. I wasn't sent these shoes. I bought these myself. I've used these myself. So everything I say is my own opinion and not bought and paid for. I'm not a long-term Altra user. I bought one pair of Ultras earlier on, the Lone Peak 5s. There was a lot of hype around the Lone Peaks. I decided I'd go ahead and try them. I wasn't a fan of them. Barely used them at all, really. And I just completed last year the 3,000 kilometer Thru hike. I used a completely different brand of shoe. I love the shoe. There's some reviews that I did of those shoes. But those shoes, from what I've been hearing, the new version, they've made some changes that will make it a little bit more narrow, and I really can't afford that with my feet. And then I heard that Lone Peak was going to a Vibram sole, and I thought, now's the time to go ahead and give these a go and try them out, because I'm a Vibram sole fan, and one of the reasons I wouldn't buy Ultra before is they just weren't using it. All right, so what I'm planning to do is give you what I like about these shoes, kind of the meh version of the shoes, and then any concerns that I might have, and then some summary thoughts. All right, so let's go first of all to what I like about these shoes. So I want to say, first of all, too, this isn't a first impression video. I've done 270 kilometers on these shoes. That's around a quarter of the length of the shoe's life. So I feel like I've got a pretty good feel for them. A lot of training hikes and some couple of really big hikes that had a lot of really rough environments. So let me tell you what I've liked about these shoes. First of all, it's the Vibram sole, as I already mentioned. You know, why any shoemaker would make a shoe now without Vibram soles, I don't know. But they're super grippy. The other shoes that I've used have all had Vibram soles. A couple of shoes I've used didn't have it, and I would never go back to them again. These soles, the Vibram soles, are super grippy. They're also long wearing. And all the shoes I've had before, the soles are the last things to go. Usually the uppers and the midsoles are long shot before the Vibram sole. So that's what I like about it. Another thing is the zero drop. Ultra's famous for the zero drop. The shoes I hiked Thru with had a 3mm drop. To be honest with you, I really didn't notice a difference between the 0 and the 3mm. The couple of things that people talk about that I kind of agree with is, number one, you do have a better feel for the trail. Some of the hiking that I've done, I just feel like I know that trail a lot better with these shoes. And also, apparently a zero drop puts less pressure on your knees, especially going downhill. So the last hike I did in the Kauweka is a 6-day, over 90-kilometer hike. I had 4 days with over 1,000 meters of ascent and descent. And by the end of that whole trail, my knees felt great. So I really do like the zero drop on these shoes. I felt that these shoes had good cushioning. When I got the 5s, that was one of the things I really didn't like about it. I felt like there was very little cushioning at all. With these shoes, I feel like there's a really good amount of cushioning in there without losing a feel for the trail as well. So I was pretty impressed with that. I know Lone Peaks in the past haven't been known for a lot of cushioning, but I think they've done a good job with the midsoles of just giving that right cushioning. Also, you know, I love the toe box. That's one of the reasons you get these guys is you have a toe box that gives your feet room to spread out. And again, it's about feeling the trail. I was listening to a podcast not too long ago where they're talking about the bottom of our feet have so many nerve endings just trying to feel the surfaces, and a wide toe box lets those toes spread out and get a good grip. I also like the material of the shoe. It's a ripstop fabric. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what I like about it is it's not waterproof. So people like, oh, you got to get waterproof shoes out there. In New Zealand, we have so much water that we're always walking through. So I like a shoe that is breathable, that's not waterproof. That doesn't mean that you go through a river and 5 minutes later your shoes are dry. It just means that at the end of the day, if you are able to set these shoes out in the sun for an hour or so, they're going to be dry and you're going to be fine the next day. So the last two things that I like about the Altra, I have a bit of a qualification. I'll talk about those qualifications in a moment. But the first is I want to talk about the durability of Altra. In the past, Altra has somewhat been known as providing what I've heard called the Altra window. You know, a hole right here where the where the shoe flexes, and it kind of develops a hole there. When I was hiking Te Araroa, I saw a lot of Altra users with the Altra window. With this ripstop fabric, I think they may have solved that problem. There's some fraying going on here on the side of the shoes. I think it's just loose threads. I'm not really worried about it. I'll keep an eye on it, obviously, but they're not anywhere near that Altra window area. So I think that ripstop fabric may have solved that problem. The other two things that I think are really good about the durability of the shoe is, first of all, the front toe bumper here. It comes really high up on the front of the shoe. And plenty of times I was kicking rocks and, you know, that I hardly even felt them because of that toe bumper. And they don't look like they're peeling off at all like some other shoes would do. The other thing that I think is a really great design of this shoe are the side protectors. I'm not sure what it's made out of. It doesn't feel like rubber, like a real heavy canvas. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll tell you the number of times that I kick sharp rocks on the side of my feet and look down thinking, oh, I probably put a hole in my shoe there. And it's like there was barely even a scuff mark on these side protectors. So I think they've done a really good job with that. I think it'll make these shoes last an awful lot longer. And then the last thing I like about these shoes, again, I'll give it the qualification, is the comfort. So I found these shoes really comfortable right out of the box. I've heard people review these Altra shoes in the past where there's like the heel has not been comfortable. I had no problems at all, no blistering. The shoes are really comforting. There's a little bit of qualification. I'll give that in just a moment. But as far as a comfortable shoe, yeah, these have been really, really good. I've been happy with that. So I have two meh thoughts around these shoes. Neither good nor bad, just something you might want to know about. One I already alluded to was the comfort of the shoe. When I first got these shoes, my feet would get tired after only just 8 kilometers of walking in them. And I thought, well, you know, it's new shoes, got to get used to them. But actually, what I ended up doing was taking out the insoles that Altra provides and replaced them with the Superfeet Trailblazer insoles that I used the entire length of Te Araroa. And once I did that, no more sore, tired feet. When I did that hike in the Kauwekas, at the end of some really, really long, hard days, my feet felt great. So I would recommend that you might want to trade out the insoles that come with the 9 Pluses for something that you find more comfortable. The other meh thing about this is the sizing. I had heard before I bought these that the Altra 9 Pluses run large. Now, I'm in New Zealand. I had to order these from Australia. They weren't here in New Zealand yet. There wasn't anywhere close by I could try them on. And so when I did Te Araroa, the shoes that I used were size 13, fit well. I went down to size 12 and a half on the Altras and they fit the same. So it seemed like they're probably running a half size larger than what you're normally. So if you normally get like a 12, get 11 and a half. That's just my thought about it. Again, not something to knock about the shoe, just something to know about it. What don't I like about the shoe? Well, it's not that I don't like about it, it's just kind of a concern that I have, but we'll see what happens. When I was hiking in the Kauwekas, some of those trails are pretty narrow and they're dug into the ground, and so quite a few times I found that my feet were knocking against each other as I was hiking. I didn't realize this at first. Matter of fact, like the 3rd or 4th day, I looked at my ankles and I had big bruises on the inside of my ankles. I'm like, I don't remember hitting any rocks or anything. What's going on? Well, then the next day I did that a couple times and I felt that pain on the bruise, like, ah, that's what's happening. Well, not only did that kicking of my feet cause bruises, it also caused some cutting on both of the inside collars of the shoes. And you can see that here. I'm keeping an eye on that. They don't seem to be getting any worse at this point. I don't think that's real bad manufacturing as much as it's just what happens when you're using shoes and you know, you got the hard Vibram sole kicking against the soft material of the collar of the shoe. So something I'll keep an eye on to see if it gets any worse. I still got about another 500, 600 kilometers left on these before probably look at getting some new ones. So we'll see at the end what that looks like. But that's really the only concern that I have with these shoes. Everything else I really, really like about them. So 3 final questions then. First of all, would I buy them again? Well, at this point, yes. At this point, I'm really happy with the shoes, but I'll have to wait and see. I got 3 questions. Number 1, again, what will happen with the collars? Do they rip further and cause some real problems? Number 2, are the Ultras as durable as other brands that I've worn? Other brands, I usually get around 800 kilometers, give or take. If I can get close to that with the Ultras, I'll be happy with that. And then the third thing is, one of the things I know about Altra, and I've heard from people who've used them for years and years and years, is that every time Altra comes out with a good shoe, then they come up with the upgrade, which is usually a downgrade. So if they, in the future, change from what the shoe is, then I may not get it again. But other than that, yeah, I would plan to go ahead and look at getting these shoes again the next time. Second question I would ask is, when I use these, if I was to hike a through hike again, like Te Araroa. Te Araroa, 3,000 kilometers, a lot of that, especially on the North Island, is on hard road surfaces. And I've heard people who used Lone Peaks before say it's just brutal because they didn't have a lot of cushion. With the cushioning that these shoes have, I think I would feel comfortable using these on a through hike like Te Araroa with a lot of road walking. I feel like the cushioning is there to support that. Again, also with all the super wet surfaces that you have on Te Araroa, you know, the Vibram sole I think is an absolute must. And as long as they keep Vibram sole, then I will keep looking at using the Ultras and would probably consider looking at them for a through hike as well. The final question is more for the New Zealand viewers of the video, is can we buy these here in New Zealand? We typically kind of get this stuff last. I did have a look last night, and yeah, there are several places online now where you can get them. The cost for them right now is about $300 New Zealand, so not cheap. If you can try them on first, I would certainly recommend that. But if you just do a search, like Further Faster has it, a couple other places have it now, you can find these shoes here in New Zealand without having to incur the huge international shipping charges. All right, I think that's about it. I hope this has helped you with your research. I know I did a lot of viewing videos when I was buying all the equipment that I bought for past hikes, and hopefully this will be a help for you as well. If you have any questions about my experience with the Lone Peaks 9.5 or 9 Plus, please feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll certainly try to answer those. All right, until next time.